being the judge's secretary. It's been moved a week to March 6th.
I'll be in Washington, D.C. on March 6th and 7th.
Okay.
Can they move it to the following week?
I'll
Next
call.
Thursday?
Yeah, I'll call. You know, do you have permission to go to, are you on bond? You don't have any bond?
No. I paid bail and that was it.
That's a bond.
Okay.
Have you talked to the bond guy to tell him you're going out of state?
I didn't pay a bond. We had to pay bail.
Jan, it's the same thing. You
I'll ask.
owe a bail bondsman owns a piece of you, right?
No, Darlene paid. They told us that this
Jan.
was the bail and we paid it.
Listen to me. One of the bond or bail conditions is that you not leave the state without the permission of the court.
Okay.
Do you have that?
No.
You gotta get it.
Okay.
So you need to call the bail person today to get to, we may have to get an order from the court to allow you to go. You can't just leave the state
Okay.
without, you know, telling people where you're going when you are under the jurisdiction of the court.
I see.
If you go back and look at the bond papers, because they can revoke your bond.
Okay.
You don't want that,
I see.
okay? So you need to call the bail bondsman. How much did you post, do you know?
Darlene posted it. I think it was, I don't know, 25, 26, 2,700.
Yeah, it probably sounds, it sounds about right. Anyway, the deal is, you've gotta make sure you work with the bond company so that you can leave the state. My guess is it's not gonna be an issue. My guess is Paul Byer would probably work with me to get an order, but the court ultimately gets to make that decision. What are you going, what is this? This is some kind of conference, isn't it?
Yep.
What is the conference?
It's a conference regarding veterans' disability compensation being misused by courts.
What's the name of the conference? It's not called a conference to talk about veterans.
It's a
being-
Veterans Affairs Committee
Okay.
hearing.
Where is it?
It's going to be in Washington, D.C. at the Cannon House.
Who's sponsoring it?
Congressman Jeffrey Miller.
Do you have any documents on this?
No, I just have I just sent out the invitations to all the Michigan politicians yesterday.
How do you know about this?
Well, because the Veterans Advocacy program that I'm working with advised me about that.
Do you have access to a computer at home, right?
Yes.
So do you have stuff on your computer about this event?
I guess I could get
Because if you're
it.
going to get an order, if you're going to talk to your bond people to tell them that you want to leave the state to attend this function, you're going to need precise information: what it is, where is it being held, who's doing it, what's the time, and what's the date.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to the chairman and get all that information today.
Well, it's on you.
Well, definitely, yeah. I'm not trying to be evasive or anything. I'll provide whatever information needs to be provided.
But when I ask you a question, what is the event? I don't care about anything other than the specific name of the event. I don't even care about the content, because for purposes of the bond, they don't care. It's
Right.
only the event. If you were going to, you know, the Men's March on Washington, that would be the name of the event. You see what I'm saying? The
Sure.
content's irrelevant.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll see if I can get that information. I'll send a text out.
If you give me the information, I'll try to get an order for you to go. Because I think that's what your bails person is going to say, is you need a court order to leave the state. Okay? But right now, until this matter is adjourned, you're set to be in court on March 6th, okay?
Okay.
Did you get my letter about my discussion with Paul Meyer?
Just got this yesterday.
Did you open it?
I just got it yesterday, last night. I was about to open it. Rose versus Rose, I don't know why everyone keeps referring to it. It's not current law.
It is current law.
No, it's not.
It is.
I know
Checked
it's
it
not.
out. Well, you're wrong,
I've checked it several times, Gail.
but you're wrong.
No, I'm
Because I
not.
checked it
The
out.
reason that Public Law 100-527 was put in place is to remove any authority that this had. So the current laws that they go by are already cited. I've already cited all of
What's
them.
the law that you're referring to?
They go by Mansell versus Mansell.
Mansell doesn't talk, Mansell's a different boarding rule.
Okay. These are different files. I have all that good stuff here.
Mansell
Right.
talks about garnishment and levy. Doesn't talk about using disability benefit for purposes of calculating income. They're different.
Well, it's literally not
They are different.
applicable. The Rose v. Rose has been shot down several times.
I'm telling you, Jan, you're incorrect. I checked it. I did a nationwide search and you're incorrect. There's lots
The
of people
first
that
one-
think that your analysis should be correct, but you're not.
The first one is North versus North, which was here in Macomb County, November 30th, 2004, where Judge Mark Switolski had said you can't use VA disability compensation to calculate child support.
That is
That was
incorrect.
repeated in Delta County, 47th Circuit Court in Godfrey versus Godfrey. And then the Court of Appeals of Ohio, 2nd District, Greene County, in Bakel versus Bakel, November 13th, 2009, is exactly where the veteran had only disability compensation and they couldn't use it to calculate child support. Mississippi Supreme Court, in
Doesn't
the
matter.
case of Mallard
Anything
versus
that's outside
Burkhardt,
of Michigan is irrelevant.
that's not true at all.
It's
These are
absolutely
federal
true.
laws.
Doesn't matter.
Is your intent to represent the court or the client?
I have to go and adhere to the law, and so do you.
I'm adhering to the law. 38 U.S.C. Section 5301 and Section 511 are crystal clear that the court cannot use veterans' disability compensation in order to calculate child support. That is repeated right here by the Treasury Department, which just put this out last
Let's
July.
see. Let me just see if I can look. And I want you to understand something, because I'm getting angry. I do my very best to represent every single person that comes into my office. If you look me up online, you'll see the kind of cases that I've done in the past, and they have been huge, huge. So don't give me any nonsense about me not doing my best to represent you or anybody else, because that's not what I do, and that's not my reputation.
Don't threaten me.
I
Don't
am not
intimidate
threatening
me.
you. I'm telling you, I'm angry with what you just said to me, and don't repeat that.
Rose v. Rose is not the law.
We can disagree on the law. I do not need to be disrespected by you.
You're disrespecting me. I didn't start arguing.
Yes, you did. You started this, Jan, by saying, am I representing you or the court? I have to represent the law. That's my job.
First you started yelling at me and I asked you who you were representing.
I'm not, we're finished with this conversation. Yes, this has to do with garnishment. Absolutely. This is exactly right. It says garnishment. It doesn't say for purposes of calculating income for support.
Look at item 7.
They're very different. Yes, exactly. I agree with this. This is exactly right. It has to do with garnishment. It doesn't have to do with purposes of income for support. They're different. What happens in John is this, is that child support is based on income. The states are allowed at this time to use your disability income for purposes of establishing your support obligation. What these regulations and cases say is they cannot enter an order of income withholding to garnish it. It falls on you to find the source of income to pay the support obligation, whether that's through your disability income or some other thing. You're incorrect in your analysis. You're mixing them up.
42 U.S.C. 659 states that the only thing that could be garnished or even calculated is a veteran's pension converted into a compensation. I never retired. I do not waiver a portion of my compensation. I have just 100% disability compensation, which falls under 32 USC, 38 USC, Section 5301, and Section 511.
I'm telling
The
you,
decisions
Ron,
will be made by the Department of Veterans Affairs, not the
you're-
court.
Yeah, you're wrong. You are absolutely wrong.
I'm absolutely right.
You're not.
I've studied all these laws.
Yeah, I want you to understand something. This is the problem you're gonna have. I've read the North case. I've read all the cases you cited. All these cases have to do generally with garnishment. Garnishment is forbidden. It's absolutely forbidden. You can't garnish military disability, period. End of story. Nothing to talk about. So you're right on that point. The income calculation for purposes of support, that's allowed. Period. How you pay your support is on you. However, if you don't pay your support, which you haven't, you end up with a felony charge. And that's what you have. And so your analysis and your study of the law is off the mark.
All
Because
right.
you're mixing things up. And so here you are with a felony charge because you refuse to understand that garnishment is separate from income calculation. And you will lose every day of the week your argument.
No, I won't. 42 USC 659 clearly states that disability
Let me
comp
see it.
cannot be
Let me
used.
see your
You're the
statute.
attorney. You're supposed to have these.
You citing a statute, I want to see it. I want to see your authority, because
It's-
I've researched the issue. Now, you should also know, and I want you to really take this into consideration, is that Buyer is willing to drop the felony charge and get rid of it. Are you listening to me?
I'm listening to you, crystal clear.
Which is significant. It helps you. But you gotta pay support.
I don't have any money.
You're gonna have
To
to
pay
find
support.
it. You have children. You have to pay support. That's the way it works.
That's easy. Reverse the custody.
It's not gonna
Problems
happen.
are solved.
Jan, I told you before, custody is different than support.
First of all,
Right now, you don't
the
have
argument
custody.
you just made about calculating or using the veterans disability comp, that's not what they said. According to what they said in their own statement, plaintiff's motion to eliminate child support based on his legal argument that it is legal for the courts to consider his military benefits for purposes of calculating child support or intercept his military benefits is denied. That's what they're saying. We could intercept your comp. That's what their argument is.
We're not trying to.
Crystal clear.
But
So you can't calculate something and create a court order in violation of the law. If they want to do this, I'll solve everyone's problems right now. Paul wants to drop his charges. You don't want to throw me in a debtor's prison because that's illegal. And there's federal law on the play field that populates that field that nobody can maneuver around. All I need is a court order that says I can go to the bank and take as much money as I want under that court order, because that's what's trying to be imposed
I
upon me
don't
right now.
understand what you're saying.
I'm saying if a court order is written in violation of the law, which it was, they used the comp, not the income, the comp. Income, according to Black's Law Dictionary, is something earned because you have provided a service or experience of work,
Yeah.
a skill. Compensation is provided because you cannot work. And according to their own policies, if you are unemployable, you're gone, you're done, you walk. I'm unemployable. I am
Let
unemployable.
me tell you something. I got bad news for you. If you were homeless and had no income and were living under a bridge, you would still have an obligation to pay support. There are minimum requirements for support. Because you brought children into the world, you have to find a way to support them.
They were supported just fine until the divorce and when these fees were imposed upon me. There were no fees in the first place. All these fees being generated by the state of Michigan are excessive fees that translate into an excessive fine, which violates
Okay,
the Eighth
listen, I
Amendment.
want you to understand something. I'm going to give you this to you. One more time, I'm going to talk to you very straight so that you understand where you sit in the world. Right now, you are charged with a felony. You are charged with a felony because you have not paid child support as ordered by the court. That's number one. Number two, you could theoretically be in prison for your failure to pay support. That's on you. You have an offer from Paul Vire to dismiss the felony charges. Dismiss them. Not plea him down, dismiss them. Get rid of them. If you start paying, make a good faith effort to pay support. You have to pay support. So that's what's on the table.
What is on the table just now is you said nothing in defense of your client at all. You said literally nothing. You just said, this is what the state is willing to do for you. You are not paying support, and I'm telling you they can't just sit there and come up with a
You have
fee.
to understand where you're
You can sign that. I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not saying that just yet. I don't care.
I don't care either.
Understand something.
There's no way for me to generate money. You got a perfectly healthy parent who is vindictive and malicious, and according to the judge's book on how to deliberate these cases, an attorney is not supposed to support a vindictive and malicious client. However, the state has chosen to allow this.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We're going after intent.
Who's in support?
You're trying to say I have intent not to pay, that I'm knowingly not paying. I have no money.
You do.
No, I don't.
You have a disability pension that can be used for...
It's not a pension. It's comp.
Excuse me.
Quit calling it income, quit calling it comp. You're looking for ways to dance around me, and I'm not an idiot. Now I'm angry.
That's okay.
You're trying to play a game with me? This is not a deliberation. This is a lynching. Don't try to make me look like a fool.
I'm not here to do that.
Okay, well, according to the Macomb County Circuit Court, they have a program here to eliminate or reduce child support.
Did you go there?
I sure did. The problem here is in the fine print.
When's the last time?
I've already shown the friend of the court everything, and according to Karen Nelson, they're not supposed to be using my comp to calculate child support. Every single person I've talked to, even civilians in the elevators, knew this. What's particularly disturbing is if they don't like this, and I forgot where it's listed in here, if the payee doesn't like the reduction of child support that is proffered, let's see, according to their own words, it says that I don't go ahead, if the custodial parent doesn't like the arrangement, it gets brought before a judge. So this is a method to strip me of my federal and human rights to exist. Nobody has the right to put me under a bridge because that's malicious intent. I didn't try to harm anyone by getting a divorce. I tried to protect my children from a violent person. It was not an easy choice to make. It wasn't a party. It was very disturbing, depressing, but it had to be done. I have children to protect. And according to everything I have here, not one single charge for parental kidnap has been filed. They're just focusing on me, a disabled vet. I don't know who thinks it's important to abuse a disabled veteran who has sacrificed everything that I could. I sacrificed everything. But I didn't just stop when I got injured. I didn't lay down and say, I want my medical discharge. I went to college. I kept pushing forward. I took survival jobs in order to have something on the table to eat. Sometimes I had to live under the bridge. I already lived under the 9 Mile Bridge by the gas station at I-94. In February, it was cold. It was unpleasant. There was nowhere to go. I had a sleeping bag and my cold weather gear. It was freezing outside. At 7 a.m., the trucks go over the viaduct and you have to wake up. And that's the way it is. I did everything I could to make sure my children were provided for. Before the divorce, not once did I need food stamps. Not once did they need Medicaid because they're on CHAMP VA. Yet the court's ignoring the facts that they were on CHAMP VA, and the money that's being demanded right now was increased, claiming that they didn't have medical coverage. They had Medicaid and CHAMP VA. Yet Judge Viviano said, no, you're going to pay $700 a month extra because they need medical. That's why I've got all the documentation from Hawaii saying that the children were medically covered. That's what this is. And I shouldn't have to be going through this with any attorney or any member of the legal community. People think I like doing this legal stuff, and I hate it. I despise it. Ninth Circuit Court went ahead and denied. Again, Ninth Circuit Court repeats, even though this is a separate issue, Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals says, Section 511 of 3801, the decisions of law necessary to veterans goes to the Secretary of the VA, not the court.
Let me ask you something. Do you want to accept Paul's offer or not? Are you going to be able to pay some support in order to get the felony?
I don't try to ignore it. If we have a dollar to spare, we give it.
How much do you want to pay for support? How much can you pay?
I don't know. If there's money left over, we give it.
It's not, you're under a court order to pay X amount. How much?
The court order is based on compensation, which is exempt, and I will not budge.
Then you're going to tell you something. You're going to end up you're going to have difficulties.
Okay, I already heard the case of LaKine versus Michigan, where the court in Oakland County tried to tell someone who had $600 of comp to pay $800 of child support. She couldn't pay it, and I can't pay it. There's an impossibility to pay issue here. Not only is there an impossibility to pay issue, there's the fact that there was a blatant disregard of the federal law that says that a lower court cannot use compensation to calculate the child support demand. Period.
Okay.
See, they can only hold me in contempt.
So, yes, they can. They can put you in jail.
That's not a felony. It's contempt. It's 30 days.
No. You're incorrect. You're very mixed up on some of this stuff. You're charged with a felony. Under the felony, you can be put in jail.
A charge of felony non-payment of child support
And if you're put in
when an illegal procedure occurred is not a legal.
If you're in jail for more than 90 days, you will lose your military disability. I want you to know that.
Right here.
Whether you think it's legal or illegal, you will lose your disability
Okay.
and have to apply all over again.
Right here, none of this was factored into the formula when this calculation was made. The children were on Medicaid.
We're not talking about that right now.
We're talking about how they calculated this, which was illegal. The increase was from $250.
I asked you how much you can afford to pay each month for support.
There is no way I can make a solid number because of different factors in life that occur.
Okay.
That would be unreasonable. If I have a dollar left over, it was brought to the friend of the court.
Okay.
No one cares about the debt, Gail. No one cares. They just want to say, oh, you're going to pay this.
I disagree with that. That's not true at all. A lot of people are concerned about this.
Well,
the problem is that you have your own analysis that you don't want to budge off of.
I'm not trying to not
So let's
budge.
just talk about this for a minute. You're charged with a felony. You have jail exposure, potentially. You don't want to accept the plea. Oh, not the plea, I should say the dismissal. Because you don't want to pay regular support.
I'm unable to pay regular support. It's not that I don't want to. See, that's improper right there.
Okay, and then let me...
You didn't change it. You're saying I don't want to, and then you're going to submit that to the court.
I didn't. I'm writing my notes. Do you mind?
I do mind, because that's
well, then
me. That's
these
my
are
freedom.
Notes. Excuse me. And if you don't, and I want you to understand this, if you're incarcerated over 90 days, you can check this out with your VA people, you'll lose your military disability.
Am I being threatened by the court?
No. I'm just,
Does the court have intent to put me in jail over 90 days?
I don't know.
Does the court intend to deny me of medical care?
I don't know.
Okay. There's an issue of cruel and unusual punishment and excessive fines.
There's a thing called reality.
Reality is the law.
This is called reality.
Okay, this is reality.
And I dealt with a child support case involving a veteran earlier last year. And this man was $100,000, over $100,000 in arrears. His only income is military disability. He was unbelievably hurt in an aircraft carrier flight deck accident. And he hadn't paid support for many years. He had a lot of issues that came up during those times. And he ends up with this terrific arrearage, and he ends up with a felony non-support case on review. And the judge that had the case put him in jail for 9 months. So what happened is that he got an attorney, and the attorney brought him into the Veterans Court. I sit as a defense attorney on the Veterans Court. And, we got him out before the 90 days ran, so he wouldn't lose his disability.
So he had to take automatic probation, which cost him visitation time, which meant he was
We're not gonna
reduced
even continue
to
this,
supervise.
because you didn't even let me finish, and you don't have any idea what I was gonna say.
I'm concerned about where you're going with this.
I'm gonna tell you what, the guy had a good result, and he didn't lose his disability. End of story.
Okay.
Good ending.
It's a good ending in whose eyes? Because there's an
His
issue of
eyes, 'cause he's not in
attachment.
jail for 9 months.
Okay, so I'm being threatened with jail continuously.
I'm telling you, you have jail exposure, of course you do. You have
Okay.
charged with a felony.
There's the issue that is being ignored of the Eighth Amendment.
Oh my God.
Why is it that someone wants to put a crippled veteran that has no money in jail? What is that serving? This is an excessive fine. It's a classic issue of excessive fine. I can't pay that kind of money. If I'm saying that if the state is willing to try to work something out where I could pay $10, $20 a month, exactly where is the state trying to go with trying to get me to pay $1,100 a month and charge me with a felony?
Well,
You're my attorney. Explain that.
It's easy. You have a support obligation. If you don't pay the support obligation, once it reaches a certain level, then the state intervenes. And they can, after lots of show causes and things like that, what they'll do is they'll say, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to charge you with a felony for failing to pay support. And it happens all the time, happens every day of the week. And in your case, the beauty of it is that you have an opportunity to walk out of this without a charge at all, because Paul Byer has agreed to dismiss the charges if you agree to pay support on a regular basis, which apparently you don't want to.
It's not that I don't. I'm unable to. Thank you.
Are unable to. So I don't have anything else I can really offer you right now.
Okay, I do have another thing to offer you. If the state is trying to say that I have to pay $1,100 a month, which is preposterous, that fee never existed when I had my children.
I asked you several times what you can afford.
No, you didn't. You just went ahead and changed it and said if you pay $10, $20 a month, you still have this arrearage and you're still exposed to jail time. Which means that the calculation was not valid in the first place, and that's the issue. It was not a valid calculation, and it's not about me not providing for my children. I love my children, and I'm trying to do what I can.
And you don't want to. I told you.
I do want to.
No, you don't. I'm going to tell you one more time just to get this straight. You can't. You can have these charges dismissed. You will not have a felony if you pay support on a regular basis.
I'm unable to pay support on a regular basis. See, in order to keep myself off the streets, yes, you did. You just supported. You just said that. What are you suggesting, Gail?
I'm not going to go through this again. I just did. I asked you. You just start to go off on your tangent. You don't want to listen. You don't. You have a track, and you, by God, are not coming off that track. And I'll be very honest with you, you're not serving your own best interest. You are not. You may think you are, but you are not. Because you're not clear-headed about this.
Are you done insulting me?
I'm not insulting you, I'm telling you the truth. That's my job.
You've called me stubborn. You said that I'm in a fog.
I didn't say any of those things. I said you're not serving your own best interests. That's what I said.
My own best interest is to point out that this court supposedly has a way to reduce or eliminate child support.
And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to recommend to the court. That you have a forensic evaluation by the people in Ipswich.
Now you're insulting the client.
Because I don't think that you're thinking it correct.
I'm going to ask you to sign that. You've insulted me. You've disparaged me. You've ignored the law. You're saying that you're on this board and that board. You've told me that there's a very good chance I'll go to jail, and if I work something out to pay something on a regular basis, if I could pay, not pay the full amount that was thrown at me, but if I could pay $10, $20 a month, they're going to let me walk. And if I can't pay that regularly, they're going to throw me back in jail.
You really think I would sign this?
No.
Why would I?
You don't really think I'm going to go get an evaluation after I've already been checked by federal authorities.
Why would I sign it?
I'll sign it.
You sign anything you want. Why would I sign this?
I want to know why you keep flip-flopping from You're being told to pay $1,100 a month, then you want me to agree to pay $10, $20 a month.
I never said any of that. I asked you several times.
You asked me, can I make regular payments?
Exactly.
Of what?
I kept asking you, how much can you afford to pay?
I've told you I could pay maybe $1, maybe $10. There's not very much money.
All right, I'll tell Paul that in a counter offer, that you can pay $1 to how much?
Somewhere between 1 and 10.
Per month?
I don't know. Sometimes there's no money left. Sometimes I'm in
What
debt.
can you afford to pay on a regular basis, monthly?
I've got to go back and see what I can cut out of the
Then
out
you
of the
call me
budget.
today with that number, so I can do a counter offer to Paul.
I've got to see what my wife can go ahead and pay out.
She's not your wife, I thought she's your fiancée.
She's my fiancée, but we've known each other 31 years.
She's your she's not your wife then?
Well,
That's a legal definition.
I'm still concerned about the direction of this, where everyone's trying to tell me that
No,
it was
I'm not-
legal to calculate. Gail, you're telling me it was legal for the court to take my comp to calculate child support.
Exactly.
Now the state has given me an offer to go around that and drop the felony charge.
Yeah, that's true. That's not a go-around, that's consideration.
Being considerate is a beautiful thing.
It is.
It is. Now, I know in these kinds of deliberations, client-attorney type relationships, I don't like it. I mean, yes, there's going to be argument, there's going to be yelling, there's going to be perception A and perception B. I've got a bachelor's degree in business, straight A's.
What are
It
you
doesn't mean
saying
I'm an
to me?
idiot.
I don't
You
think
sat
you're
there
an
and
idiot.
you said I was on one track and I'm not going to budge. You called me stubborn. That's stubborn.
I didn't call you stubborn.
That's a hard-headed person,
I did
one-track
not call you
mind.
stubborn.
You
said-
alluded to it, Gail.
Okay, yeah, we're done. Because you want to say things that I didn't say.
You
That I didn't
alluded
say.
to it, Gail.
I didn't say the word, and I'm not arguing with you. End of story.
I want an explanation from the state why they're trying to be considerate and reconsider this child support demand. I don't want the charges, the arrearages ignored. Someone owes the state, and that person is the custodial parent. These fees never existed to the state, and I want that brought to their attention. My children were never a burden on the state, and I love my kids, and I've been denied custody every single time. I've been denied parenting time every single time.
Okay, you talk to your bondsman.
Sorry to start your day off so rough.
That's okay. Right now, it's up to the court next week.
What I can get done, Gail.
And I don't know if I can get an adjournment, so you just let me, we'll have to work on that. Okay?
Alrighty,
Bye-bye.
good deliberating.